Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Kay Kaltoff with Stamping to Share, and I'm about to share some really pretty sparkly cards. I know that probably didn't show up in the picture that I shared earlier, but in real life, these are super, super sparkly because I am using the supple shimmer paper on both of the cards that I'm doing. Welcome. It's good to be here. Oh, we've got lots of watchers, lots of sharing going on. I thought this would be kind of fun today. If you have made a card recently, jot down whether it was a birthday card, an anniversary card, a Valentine's card. I'm really interested in seeing the kinds of cards you're making right now. So whatever the last thing was, let me know. And if it was a birthday card, tell me what style of birthday card. Was it for a kid? Was it for a grandparent? Was it for a friend? Inquiring minds want to know that. So welcome. Hi, everybody. So good to be here. So let me just give you a peek. Here's the card that I posted on Instagram, and it's so, so pretty. I'll be giving close-ups in just a second. I want to kind of see some of your comments. And then this is the second card, which I have not shared until this very moment in time. Look at how sparkly that one is. So fun. All right, so Tila's telling me she's made a bunch of Valentine cards and she's working on Valentines for her kids at school. That's great. And Jean did a bunch of Valentine cards for her girlfriends. So fun. Mary Ellen did a bridge card. I love it. That's a fun fold for those of you that aren't sure. Yes, very, very fun. All right. Oh, and Diana's saying she's not on Instagram. Well, guess what? I always share all of my Instagram posts. So if you are not on Instagram, it really doesn't matter because I share them all to my Stamping to Share Facebook page. So you're actually seeing all of the Instagram posts anyway. All right. Oh, and so, Mary Ellen's also saying she did the ladybugs. Sorry, I had to get a drink. My voice, I don't know what's wrong with it. Hopefully I can get through this whole video okay. All right, well, I think I'm going to flip the camera down and we'll go ahead and get started making these really, really pretty cards. So there they are in all of their glory. And I'm going to show you some of the supplies I used, and then we'll get down to business of creating with these cards. But before I even do that, I know that a lot of you are part of my Happy Stampers Stamping to Share group on Facebook, which is a public group. You can find the link right here in my Stamping to Share page. And I am going to do a Crane of Fortune card tomorrow during mailbox shares. So because you're here with me today, you get to see a sneak peek of it. So here it is. And it's so pretty, don't you think? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share this with you. So it's a little bit of a fun fold, kind of an off-centered gate fold for those of you that are wondering. But this is going to be the card that I will do tomorrow during mailbox shares. And so that uses the Crane of Fortune stamp set, and then of course the coordinating dies that go with it. And one of the dies that cuts out the flower also cuts out the flower from the designer series paper. So we'll explore that option with it. And of course, one of the reasons I'm highlighting the Crane of Fortune card for tomorrow is because I wanted to remind you that you get all of the card setups absolutely free with a $50 order minimum using the host code WNZSDRQG. And that offer ends in 1 week. So you just have 1 week to place that order with the host code in order to get the free card setup. So you'll get 8 setups, 4 designs, 2 of each card. So it's quite a good deal, especially for my regular ordering customers, because this is just, you know, something that it's just a big, big value. So I hope you are taking advantage of it. If you do go ahead and place a little bit more on that order and get up to 75 with that host code, you will get the Pebbles enamel shapes. That happens to be my customer gift of the month this month. So I'm excited to share those as well. All right, well, looking at the cards today, I did not use the actual Rainbow of Happiness bundle. So this is what the Rainbow of Happiness bundle, and for those of you that are catching this later or live, you will notice that in my ingredients, I did include the bundle because, I mean, why would you get just the dies when you've got a really cute stamp set that goes with it? And next week, I will share a card that uses both the stamp set and the dies. But for today, I'm just using the dies. And the reason is I found some really cute sentiments in the special moment stamp set. And this is a celebration stamp set with a minimum $100 spend with your Stampin' Up! Order. And then you can pick this as one of your freebies. And there's so many fun sentiments. So we will be using this particular stamp set right off the bat. And then of course the dies. So you can make lots of great cards just using the dies. So since we use the dies, I want to share with you the paper that we cut from. So I have scraps, and actually this easily makes 4 cards because you can just rearrange the cutouts. And so I will be rearranging some of the cutouts based on the card that I did. So this is another scrap. So this is So Saffron. And then here we have Pool Party. And then I've also got Flirty Flamingo. So those are the first 3 scraps that I cut out to get my rainbow pieces. And then I also used pumpkin pie. So I cut one of the pumpkin pie ones out. And then I also took the Pool Party supple shimmer paper and cut, I already cut it, but I just have to pull these out. Oh, it's already pulling out. But these are what I'm going to use on the card. So I'm going to be using both the actual pieces that look like this. In fact, I'm going to pull those out because that goes on the second card that we're doing. And again, these are just little scraps of paper. And then the little inside pieces that you see here, I'm actually going to use those to give my first card added sparkle. So I'm going to hold up the first card so that you can see where I put those sparkle pieces. I just added them right in between the colors of the rainbow for extra sparkle. And again, I just feel like the pictures don't do this card justice because in real life, it's just spectacular. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these aside because we will be using these on the second card that I am making today. Hope you guys have your copy. It's probably going to be a long one. All right, and then I'm going to set all of these pieces aside so we have room to work. And we'll put this up here in the corner so I know kind of what I'm doing. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a paper snips and I am going to trim these little pieces that are just here right on the edge right out. I think it's easier just to pull those away. So give me a second to do that. Get all those little strippy things away from my rainbow piece. And I may have to trim this again when I put it up onto my my designer series paper. And you know what? I did not get that ready. So we're using another celebration item with these cards, and it's the designer series paper. And I believe it's called Sunshine and Rainbows. And I should have had that out to show you what those paper pieces look like. But of course, you can find them in our celebration catalog. And it gives you a pretty good look at what you're going to get with those. So I will just let you look those up on your own. So let me get all of this little scrippy scrap out of the way. And then don't toss this piece because this is something that makes beautiful cloud pieces. So there are 4 different clouds on the set of dies. And so you can take these cloud pieces and you can get all 4 cloud pieces just on the little scrap that's left over. So I definitely used some scrap pieces of my Pool Party supple shimmer paper to make some cloud pieces as well. But you'll notice on this card, we're not using the dies. We're actually using a brand new punch from Stampin' Up, which, oh my gosh, I love it. It's one of my favorite punches ever that Stampin' Up has ever introduced because I love adding clouds. But sometimes I'm too lazy to actually cut them out with my die cutting machine because, you know, you can use clouds for lots of different cards. And I also really love stamping sentiments into the cloud piece because it just works. I mean, there's a ton of sentiments out there that will fit that cloud piece. So it's really fun. And then another thing I like to do is to provide a little contrast with my clouds. I'll pick a kind of sky colored paper to punch out a secondary cloud to put in the background. And that really adds brightness to the basic white cloud that I have in the foreground where I have my stamped sentiment. So works just fabulous. All right, let us continue. Okay, let me grab some more supplies. So here is some of the beautiful Sunshine and Rainbows paper that I was telling you about that I just love. And I've cut this down. Did I cut it right? I did cut it right. For a second, I thought maybe I hadn't cut that bottom section off, but I did. It is 4 by 5 1/4. And so that's the one we're going to use. And you'll notice how much brighter it is than my actual card. That's because I added a layer of vellum. So I'm going to do that. So let me show you my vellum panel, which is our cardstock vellum. You all know I love using vellum because it just elevates your card making and turns something kind of cute into something elegant just by adding a layer of vellum. I love vellum, you know it. In fact, I think over half of the kits to go that I've ever done, I've had vellum paper in there. It's just my style. All right, so this is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to be putting that on over the top. And you'll notice there's lots of room for adhesive because all of this is going to be covered up. And then we got a pretty good spot up here that's going to be covered up with our clouds. So all we have to do when we are doing this is remember what side we're putting the adhesive. So I just flipped it upside down and I got to remember that I'm going to put the adhesive here and here, so that when I put it onto my card, it's going to be in the right place. I don't know about you guys, but I have ruined so many pieces of vellum because I didn't pay attention to that when I was putting my adhesive on. Okay, now whenever this happens to you, and I'm sure it has, you can get your Stampin' Seal started. Just happened to me. You can either move it with your finger, which I did, but something that's probably even going to make a bigger difference for you is grab yourself, and I don't know how I happened to have it today, but I did. Grab yourself a silicone mat and it will make, oh, look at that. It makes putting the Stampin' Seal on so much easier. I don't even know how I lived without a silicone mat in the past. All right, and so let me share with you where I am putting this. So as you notice, I've got my Stampin' Seal here and I've got my Stampin' Seal here. So that's going to be all we need really to hold this layer down really securely and without the adhesive showing through. Just double check it. I can layer it over the top. Yep, it's right where I want it. So I'm going to set this right here onto that piece of Sunshine and Rainbows paper and then give it a press. All right, next we are going to go ahead and start stacking rainbows. So the first rainbow that we are going to put onto, well, let me grab all these rainbow pieces. I've got my orange one, and this is going to be in a different order than my actual card. And the reason it's going to be in a different order is because you can make 4 different cards with just layering up all your different pieces. So I think I've got what I need. And what I did, and again, I'm going to bring my silicone mat back into the picture just so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to set this here, and then I'm going to take this little piece, and I have a feeling I will need to cut this little piece down, but maybe not. Maybe I cut it close enough to the edge that it's not going to be a problem, but it is going to be just a teeny bit bigger. So I'm going to put my, I'm going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm going to add a little bit here to the back, and I can basically put this on. As long as I'm lining it up squarely with my bottom edge and my top edge, everything should fit in pretty naturally. I shouldn't even really have to worry about where these pieces will go, because if I line this up correctly, the little pieces will fit perfectly. So we're going to go out on a limb and do it that way, because that's the way I did it when I did my card the first time. Because I didn't even know I wanted sparkly pieces until I actually had the card like practically put together. And then I realized, oh, I could put these little sparkly pieces in here and they fit perfectly. So it looks so cute. I love it. All right, so we'll just keep going. The next one is the So Saffron piece. And again, just pick whatever you want, because these are great colors. Do you know where I got the idea for my rainbow? It was so easy. I just looked at the colors in my designer series paper, and then I just picked the my rainbow pieces based on the colors in my designer series paper. So super simple. Now we're going to add the final one. All right, so this is what I did. Then we can go in and just add our little inserts. So I'm going to just add a little glue through the inside. It's easier to put the glue here than it is to try to put glue on each individual piece. All right, so we're going to add our first one right here. And you'll notice it's just a little bit bigger, but we'll trim it later. Then we'll put our second little piece in here. And our third piece goes in next. So simple. And our fourth piece. Look at how quick that was. Whoops, that one got to go scooted a little bit. There we go. Now we need some cloud pieces, and I'll trim that up. I'm going to give it a second to dry. So let's go ahead and do some stamping and get our cloud piece ready. So we've got a little scrap of basic white, and we have a scrap of Pool Party. So the first one's pretty easy. Just gonna stamp our background cloud, or not stamp, punch our background cloud. And then you can either, so I don't know, I mean, you can either stamp this and punch it, or you can punch it and stamp it. Now, since my piece is pretty narrow, I'm going to go ahead and punch it and stamp it. But you could do it the other way too, if you want to. All right, so this one is going to end up here. So we could probably put that one on already. So that one is going to go right here. Just tuck that in there like so. And then we've got our white one. I'll put this on the silicone mat so you can see what I'm stamping. Now I have to find my stamp that I'm using. It's just a little hello to you from me. And now I know all of a sudden you stopped hearing me. It's because I didn't have my ink ready, but my ink is so handy. It's right behind me. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to ink up the sentiment, and we're going to stamp it on the cloud. It's nice because it's photopolymer, so you can see exactly where you're stamping. Just a little high for me, turned out perfect. And we're going to put that on dimensionals. But before we do that, I think this is dry enough now that I can come back and just even up these edges with my paper snips. And this one needs a little bit of cleaning up. And I think there's just a couple more little edges here. There we go. So we've got it all just looking great. Hold on. All right, so I think before I put the rest of the card together, we're going to add our ribbon wrap. We don't want to forget that because it's so easy to forget. So let me grab my ribbon. We are going to be using this really pretty sparkly ribbon because, you know, we've got sparkles on other parts of the card. So we want to go ahead and add even more sparkles. So we're going to cut a little bit longer than our panel. And we're just going to wrap that over on the right edge. I suppose, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 from the bottom. Give that a little wrap, tape it down, and then wrap the other side as well. Just get it nice and straight across. And then we'll cut another little piece about 4 1/4. And we are going to, right where the rainbow end is, we're going to add our ribbon accent. Oh, it's so cute. I just love it. And then go ahead and trim it up. And you have just a darling little accent down here. Oh, I just so want to fuss, but I'm trying not to fuss, but you guys know how it is. I'm a fusser. There we go. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this on top of our card base, which I haven't even shown you yet. So let's do that next. Let me get all these little pieces out of the way. I think we're still going to need the ink. All right, so let's look at the inside panel. The inside panel is basically, it's basically basic white, 4 by 5 1/4. And then on the other side, I already put down the 3 1/4, 3/4 by 4 inch strip at the bottom. And then the sentiment that we're going to use. So the outside says, just a little high from me. The inside says, for someone who is wonderful in each and every way. So we're going to ink that up and set that in right about here. And then we can go ahead and take our Stampin' Seal and put that into the inside panel of the card, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And this is Flirty Flamingo. Set that in right here. And then we'll go ahead and add our outside panel, and we can just do that with multi-purpose liquid glue. We've got everything wrapped. I don't forget my ribbon as often as I did when I was a new stamper, because now I really check my panels before I glue them down. And just wiggle that into place. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. There we are at this point. Then we're going to add our little stamped sentiment, and we're going to do that with, we're going to add it with some dimensionals. And then we'll have our card almost done. We're going to add a few more little sparkly accents. There we go. So let me grab a couple of sparkling accents. So the accents that I chose to use with both of the cards that we're making today are the Artistry Blooms sequins. So this is what a full pack looks like. And then I think there's 4 or 5 different colors in here. I'm not exactly sure. But we are going to use kind of the orangey ones, which is pretty appropriate because of you know, we have some pumpkin pie in here. So I am going to take my take your pick tool. We're going to grab off some little small ones. So we've got two of, whoops, it got away on me. Hold on. Wow, that's a jumpy one. Put that right here. So we've got two little small ones here, and then we'll get one more small one and put it up here. There we go. So our card is complete and it's just so pretty. So let me put out both cards so you can see what they look like. And then we'll move on to the next card that we're going to make, which is also just really, really pretty. And you can see how you can just vary, you know, once you cut out your scrap strips of rainbows, you can make 4 different cards based on just moving the colors around a little bit. All right, so let me set this one aside, and we are going to clean our ink off of this stamp because we're going to use that same stamp. So let me grab my, just want to get that all the ink off of there. And we'll set that aside for a minute. Okay, so let's look at the next card. And here we are with this one. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So again, we're using the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper. That's a free paper pack with a $50 order. We've got some clouds up here and again, we're using the Special Moments stamp set for our sentiments. And so this one says, I think you're wonderful. And then when you open it up, in each and every way. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but this particular sentiment says, for someone who is wonderful in each and every way. So we're just going to mask out the top part of it and just use the very bottom portion of that sentiment for our inside panel. So why don't we start with our inside panel, and then I'll show you how to do that as long as we're talking about it. So let me grab my silicone mat so you can sort of see what I'm doing, maybe a tad bit better. And the way I do it is I just grab some Scotch tape and I just set that Scotch tape right over the top of the portion that I don't want ink on. So I'm going to do one more strip across the top here. There. So now when I ink it up, the only thing that's getting inked up is this lower section right here. And I'm just double checking to make sure I got that. I think I did. I think I got all the little bits and pieces. Sometimes if you're unsure, just double check it. It's a little tight, but I think I got it. All right, I'll hold it up real close. So now you can see that the only thing getting inked up is going to be that bottom portion. And I'm just taking my thumbnail and just making sure, because the one thing I'm a little worried about is the word and. I want to make sure my D shows all the way up. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take our inside panel. We're going to do that first. So we've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel of basic white. And then we have a 3/4 by 4 inch panel of the Designer Series paper to match the outside of the card. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ink this up with Misty Moonlight. So once again, I'm reaching behind me to grab my ink because I didn't have my ink out on my desk. But we're going to use Misty Moonlight. So what we do is we just ink it up like normal, except then we grab the tape and you take off that tape piece. Oh no, I'm trying to get it off my finger without getting ink on my finger. I got too much stuff in my trash. It kept jumping onto my finger. There we go. So now this should be just the part that I want inked. Then we're gonna stamp it onto our card. Oh, and look at that, it worked. See, it worked really, really prettily. Diana's saying she's full of ink by the time she gets to that point. Oh, well, I've been there too, trust me. Oh, funny. All right, so I'm going to get some things out of the way here. All right, we have another little bit of stamping to do on this card, and it's this sentiment right here. And I have that ready to go as well. So we're going to need a strip of, again, the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper. So I used the side that had the little dots or the little lines here, and then it just sort of has, I don't know. I don't really know what that pattern is. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's the pattern I use. It's a 1/2-inch strip. And the first thing I'm going to do is take my Banner's Pick-a-Punch because I'm just too lazy to make a pennant with my scissors. Plus, this is pretty foolproof. And we have a perfectly punched banner. I love let me to take the sentiment that says, I think you're wonderful. And we're going to ink that up with my Misty Moonlight ink. And we're going to stamp that right here, really pretty close to that banner end. And again, it's so nice because it's a photopolymer stamp set and you can see exactly where it's going. So a little bit more foolproof than kind of the red rubber where you're sometimes guessing if you don't get your stickers on just perfect. All right, so let's go ahead now and we're going to set that aside, set our inside panel aside, and we're going to be working on the Designer Series paper that's going on the front of the card. Let me grab that. And that is a 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel. Got kind of like pink and white and pumpkin pie on the back side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take those strips that I cut and we're going to just start layering these down. So take your smallest one first, and we're going to do this exactly like we did with our colored rainbow section. So just measure it in here so that it is flush to the bottom and flush to the left. And it's kind of nice to use glue because you've got that little bit of wiggle room to make sure it's going right where you want it. I think I'll put this down so I can see just a little bit better. And you can see just a little bit better. So then go in with your next one. And then you'll take the next size up. So you guys can see that you can make some pretty cards with just the Brilliant Rainbows die set. Very pretty. And one more. Set this in. Okie doke. Then we can go ahead and place our sentiment panel. But before I do, I want to just cut this right where I want it. And then I'm going to do a little bow, and I'll show you how to do that. It's a little bit fussy. So I'm going to get this about where I want it. And then I'm going to flip it over and trim it even with my edge. And then I'm going to get my twine, and I'll show you how I do this. So of course it involves Scotch tape. So I just set it in and I tape down my edge. And then my tape is a little wide, so if that's the case, just go ahead and trim that tape. And then I'm going to wrap it around several times. So I think I did 5 times. But you do whatever you want. And then just kind of push them all together, get them, because you have to get them where you want this before you put your next bead of tape down. So I like it like that. And I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to trim it. And then I'm going to grab another little piece of Scotch tape and we're going to tape this in the back. Looks good. Now I do use 1/2-inch tape and I think my little banner was just under a 1/2 inch. All right, so then you're going to have something that looks like this. So now all you have to do is thread some baker's twine under here and tie a bow, which can be a little tricky. And I think I have to go across my room and grab a little tool that really helps. So one of my girlfriends is a dental hygienist, and she gave me a big pack of these. Oh, I don't even know what they're called. I don't think you can see it. Let me see if I can hold it up so you can see it. I don't know what they're called, but it's to help you floss under bridges and things like that. And so it's this thing, but it's great for helping you run it under. It helps you get your ribbon under places where you need it to go. So see how easy it is to thread this under, and then you just pull it. Oops. And then it takes your ribbon through. Oh my gosh, I love these. I've got a lifetime supply. All right, so we're going to go ahead and tie a bow. So I'm giving myself lots of room just because I'm doing a Facebook Live and I need the room. But when I'm doing this without being on a Facebook Live, I can go a lot littler, but I'm not gonna try to fuss with it too much. I want it to be a little bit quicker. So I'm just tying a bow and then we'll make it the size that we want it. Whoops, I gotta start over. And that's even using a great big piece and I still have to start over. Probably too much coffee this morning. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna bring this bow in so it's really, really little and cute. Oh my goodness, I am having struggles. Hold on. It wants to look kind of wonky, but that's okay. I guess anytime it doesn't turn out, you just say to yourself, well, then everybody knows it's homemade. Or you mess up the other side so both sides look the same. And then everyone will think you did it purposely. So I'm going to do that because I think that'd be easier. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but my bow got little like weird. But now I messed up both sides so that both sides of the bow look the same. Then everyone thinks you made it look like that purposely, which I guess I did when I think about it. I'll show you a close-up of what the heck I was talking about. Hold on. So one of my bows got all, like one side got all kind of like weirdly thready as I was doing it. So then I just made the other side just like it. It was easier to do that than to tie a new bow. Okay, so moving on. Let's go ahead and we're going to grab some dimensionals and we are going to make this nice and sturdy. So we will be using a lot of dimensionals on our little banner sentiment here. Oops, got to get that in there straight, because when you're working with the 1/2 inch, you got to make sure that the flat edges are the ones in focus, or the ones going between. So you got to have all your flat edges lined up properly. Then you can take the peelies off. And then we can put it onto our card. So there it is. So cute. And we know we want this edge to be lined up right here with the edge of our card panel. And then just make sure it's nice and parallel to the bottom. So cute. And then we can go ahead and put these all onto our cards, and then I'll show you all those little finishing touches that make it spectacular. So we've got a pool party panel, a pool party card base. I have to reuse one of these. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. We can go ahead and set our inside panel in already. So that goes right here. And now we can do our outside panel, which I'll just go ahead and glue. So we'll set this right here like so. And now we're going to go ahead and make this card spectacular. So again, we are going to be using our artisan, or I think it's called Artistry Bloom sequins. But this time we are going to be using, let me grab them, the balmy or pool party colored ones, just the blue ones. And we are going to use the take your pick tool, which somehow, oh, here it is. It's kind of lost. And we're going to go every other one. So we're going to go big, little, big, little, big, little, all the way up the rainbow. So we're going to start with a big one and put that right here. And then, where's my original card? We're going to add a little one, and we're just going to go all the way up. Now, the big one is the only one that I press down really securely, because I may have to adjust these depending on where we end up. So I'm barely touching them to our main paper here, just in case it doesn't come out quite right and I need to adjust them. So we're adding all, oops, that one I can tell is way too close. It's hard when I can't get my head right over the top. So we're kind of guessing a little bit. But this is the funnest. Oh, and I know it. I know that's too close. Hold on. This is totally the funnest part of doing this card, is adding all of the sparklies. Whoops, we need a little one. Almost did that out of order. And then a big one. And it looks like on this card, we're going to end up with a little one. I made them a little bit closer, I think, than my first card, but that's okay. Just one more sparkly. We're good with that. So once you get it where you like it, then press them all down. Oh my gosh, so fun. It's like adding a little extra rainbow there. Then the other thing I did to add sparkle to the front of this card is I took a scrap of the pool party shimmer paper and I cut all those clouds out. So we've got 4 clouds here. So I am going to use this bigger cloud down below, and then we've got our 2 little mini clouds up here. So I'm going to put those on with multi-purpose liquid glue. And then we're going to take the leftover cloud and put it on the inside panel. So we've got this one. And then this one. And then we'll just add a little bit of glue here for this one, the bigger one. Set that right there. Got to make sure they're sort of straight. So there is the front of the card complete. And then you can take one of these little clouds and just add it. Oh, it's so cute. So we'll add one more little cloud to the inside panel of our card right there. Isn't that darling? And then here's the outside. Oh my gosh, I love this card. I hope you guys love this card too. All right, so we'll get all the cards on display that we did today. And here they are. So thank you everybody so much for joining me today. It was truly, truly fun to be here. And I'm fussing with this now because it takes a little bit for the camera to catch up, and I don't know how it looks until I see it 10 seconds later. All right, thank you again, everybody, for coming today. I truly appreciate you. Again, be sure to check out I think I linked it in the See More section. Check out the blog post so that you know all about my card kit to go for the month of February, which only has one more week for your sign up period. And if you enjoy this, please click the like button, whether you are subscribing on Facebook or whether you're subscribing to me on YouTube. I truly appreciate it. And when I see those likes and hearts, that makes me know that I need to keep doing this because you love it. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day. And maybe I'll see you here tomorrow for mailbox shares. Mailbox shares are done on Wednesdays, where I share things out of my mailbox that I've received from you or from my downline members. And then I also try to do one quick card. So the card we're going to make tomorrow is a Crane of Fortune card. So I do that at 1 p.m. Central on Wednesdays, right here on my Stamping to Share Facebook group page, and that was called Happy Stampers, Stamping to Share. So if you're not a member of that yet, go ahead and become a member so you get the notification. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.